So you don't need to worry about you guys being seen on our Facebook page. But if you don't mind muting yourselves so that way we don't have all that extra background noise. So I'm going to share us just on our group. This way, people that are kind of scrolling, that don't know that this is happening, can kind of pop on and join us.
I'm going to my AirPods. Don't tell me they're dead.
What?
Okay. All right. So, meal prepping. How ironic that on this night that I'm doing the presentation for meal prepping, that I should walk in the house literally an hour ago after being gone all day and have nothing prepared for dinner. So it worked out perfect because not only do I still experience this chaos of having to throw dinner together, but I was throwing it together for my family, all while I was putting together this presentation for you guys, because of course I had a different setup planned for last week. And so I was putting together this PowerPoint presentation going, oh my God, this is so easy. I really hope that everybody gets this and understands this. So without further ado, I'm gonna make sure that you guys still see me. Okay, perfect. All right, so meal prepping seems to be the hardest thing that people just can't seem to understand. And a lot of it is a mindset. A lot of it is a habit loop. And between the habit loop and the mindset piece and understanding how to overcome both, I've seen it happen with myself, and I've seen it happen with all of you guys, a lot of people. You seem to figure it out. I did my show today, my podcast on making excuses, and I kind of named it, is it that we make excuses, or is it that we need to change our mindset? And the number one reason why people say they can't lose weight is excuses. That's what I hear, excuses. I don't have time. I can't meal prep, or I don't have the tools I need to meal prep, or I have a family and I can't meal prep for myself and meal prep for them. Those are all legitimate reasons. And although they might seem like excuses, they're so easily solved once you figure out how to do it. So I put together a little presentation, and before we even consider talking about meal prepping, we have to get in front of that problem. And those of you that have talked to me about meal prepping, it's not about the meal prepping. You can't meal prep. You for now there. You can't meal prep unless you have planned and unless you have shopped. And you can't shop unless you have thought about what you're going to make and your list. And so before any of that, you sort of have to construct your house, your closet, your pantry, have it ready to go for those emergencies, for when you don't have a plan. In the ideal world, you're grocery shopped, you have a dinner plan made, you have an idea of what you're going to make on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. I had no idea what I was making tonight for dinner. None, literally. I had no idea what I had in the fridge. I had no idea what or how I was going to put it together. But I was prepared in that my house, my refrigerator, my pantry is armed with the necessities that are needed, so that at any point in time, I could whip something together. And I did. I whipped something together tonight while I was putting together this PowerPoint and frantically making dinner. So it can be done. And as I was putting the presentation together, I really thought about it. It has nothing to do with prepping. it has to do with having the stuff available. And that is really the bottom line. So I'm going to share my screen. And I've seen so many people succeed with this. So see if I can get this right here. I'm going to share my screen. And all right, so I'm going to show you kind of like the unedited version, because I have 3 screens here, and I know if I hit play, I'm gonna lose you guys. So can you guys see this meal prep screen? Yes? Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right, meal prep. First off, get in front of the problem. Grocery shop. All right. If any of you are like me, I dislike grocery shopping. I put it off, and I put it off some more until I finally have to go. And so part of the problem that people don't like grocery shopping for is disorganization. So if you're not organized when you go to the grocery store, it takes you longer because you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're looking for. So the biggest solution to this, of course, is generate lists. Now, everybody has their own way of generating lists. We can go the paper route. You can get an app for your phone, or you can just actually type it up on your phone on the list. You have to do what's right for you. And I've toyed with all 3. The paper route is nice because if you go the paper route, you can keep it in the kitchen, and your entire family could jot things down when you run out of stuff, or when you're thinking about stuff. So when you realize that you're out of something, you could jot it down. The problem with the paper route is if you forget it at home and you don't have it with you, then you're screwed. And this is what happens to me probably, I'd say 100% of the time. So I usually have to call home and have somebody take a picture of the list because I almost always forget it at home. But I do like having it in the kitchen. So that is one route. The other route is to just use your notepad on your phone and keep the list on your phone. I loved this route because then you have your phone, and when you're at the store, you can check off the list while you're there. The problem with this is when you are at home and you realize you're out of peanut butter, chances are your phone is not there with you. I don't know, maybe it is. You jot down peanut butter and have it on the list. The newest option is there's a ton of apps that you can get, and they all have family sharing abilities. And what's nice about those is some of them are Siri enabled or Google Voice enabled, and you could just blurt out, hey Siri, add peanut butter to my list. I know we have become the laziest society ever, but nonetheless, this is nice because a lot of these lists, these apps already have staple items included on there, and they're on your phone. But nonetheless, I highly, highly recommend, if you have not started doing lists, start the lists. When you signed up, there was a generic list in your onboarding guide. And a lot of these items in the list, in the generic list, are things that you have probably figured out are regular items that you need for a lot of the Get You Fit. But I would encourage you to make one of your own. And if it's one like this that you can copy week after week after week, have it be something that works for you. Anybody have anything to share about lists, or any shortcuts or quick trips about lists that they can share that have worked for you guys?
I can just share really quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Holly, go ahead.
So what I do is I have an iPhone, and I use the reminders in my phone, and then I share that list with my husband. And so we both have the same list, and I just love it because you can just swipe or tap it and delete them. But then you can also pull them back up like old reminders and have your general list. So
And that's a great idea too. Who else had something?
I was going to say that when I make my list, I try to lay it out according to the areas of
Yes.
Yeah. Grocery store, like produce and
Yes.
dairy, because I loathe grocery shopping. So the sooner I can get in and get out, the best. So I just try to think out that way.
Yes, totally. And I do the same thing. Actually, I have a funny story to tell. One time I sent my husband at Costco and I purposely mixed up the order of everything. Isn't that the meanest thing to do to somebody? But yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense to have it in the order that you walk in, because, you know, if you're going to put broccoli on there and then you're going to put, you know, ketchup, you're not going to put asparagus right after it like I did. But nonetheless, yeah, that's the way to go for sure. Absolutely. Okay. So generate that list. It is the hugest time saver, and it's not only going to save you time at the store, but it's going to keep you from forgetting things. It's going to keep you from buying doubles of things. And I am the backup queen. So if it's a staple item, whether it's something for me or for the kids, if it's a necessity, the second I run out of the backup item, I put it on the list, because I don't ever want to run out of, you know, ketchup or rice or, you know, some of the important things, and the things that I'm going to show you on here that are the essential backup for emergency dishes. Okay. All right. So I put together a couple staple items for you guys to be able to throw together some meals always, if you have these items in stock and they don't go bad. All right. And these have helped me out so many times. So if you always have these items on hand, and these are the ones that I'm talking about, that if I don't have them, I have a backup of them. And when the backup runs out, I make sure that the backup's on the list. Beans, you know, again, if you're not a bean person, then obviously this isn't going to apply to you, but I always have black beans, kidney beans, chili beans, always just a couple cans in the pantry. I always have refried beans, couple cans, no matter what. I can use that as a side dish. I can use it for a Mexican dish. I can make burritos. It's endless what I can do with the refried beans, and I always buy the fat-free ones. This is kind of an advanced meal prep move, but I do buy the not only the canned, but I buy the dry beans. My pantry is stocked with those, and I just make my own in the Instapot. I throw in the entire bag with some water, and I not only have beans, but then I mash them up and make my own refried beans. Super, super easy. Salsa, always have cans of salsa. I use them, I use it as a marinade. I've used it as, I throw it in with the frickin' chicken. If you add a can of this salsa in with the chicken here in the Instapot, it's going to completely change what that chicken tastes like when it's shredded. Amazing. Always have tortillas on hand, flour or corn. The corn lasts forever if you don't open them, but these freeze really well. They're so inexpensive, and I always keep a couple in the freezer, always. I mean, it's a shocker if we ever run out. The cheese, and this is not if I don't have cheese, I could still make all of these meals. Corn, and this could be kept frozen also, if you could just buy a can of frozen corn. And then enchilada, can of enchilada. So if you have all of these things here, you could, first off, you could make a couple things, but my favorite thing to make is this easy enchilada casserole. It's literally mindless. You just have to take all of these ingredients and just layer a layer of this, a layer of this, a layer of this. Obviously this has to be cooked, but if you follow my freaking chicken video, you want to have the chicken always cooked. If the chicken's not cooked, then you're not throwing this together in 10 minutes. Granted, you could still make the enchilada, but I'm talking about how can you make something fast. If this chicken is cooked, Then you can layer a layer of corn, another layer of tortilla, another layer of beans, chicken, corn. Dump 1 can of enchilada sauce on top, drizzle a little cheese. It's cooked because all these ingredients are cooked. Remember, you've cooked the chicken, and you don't even have to bake it if you don't want. You could just stick it in the microwave. Of course, if you have time to bake it, you could bake it, and now you have an enchilada. And you could add extra vegetables in there if you want. You could make this with beef. If you don't have chicken made and you have fresh ground beef that cooks up in no time, and you can have that on the table. Questions about this? Super easy. My favorite thing to do when I make this is I make 2, because it's no extra work to make 2, and this freezes so great that I literally just pop one in the freezer, and when I'm having a day where I know I'm not going to have any time, I just take it out, let it thaw all day, and dinner is done. It is so easy, and this is my favorite go-to to bring to people that meal train or just had a baby kind of thing, because it's just so easy, and everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. Okay, my next one. Pro tip meal number 2. If you have all of these things, and again, these are things that are highly, the shelf life is incredible. Bag of frozen vegetables. This is what I did tonight. I had the Costco bag, which is the one that's got like the snow pea pods and the had some like mushrooms and stuff in it. This is a broccoli one. There's tons of riced veggies now that you can get. Just stockpile them. Just create a little area in your freezer and just throw some veggies in there. Or you can create your own if you wish. And then of course, you're always going to have your frozen meats. If you've never done a pork tenderloin, if you like pork, this is one of the easiest things to throw together on a whim. Of course, you need to let it bake, but so easy. And then I just pulled rice. You could do potato, you could do any grain, quinoa, pasta, but I pulled rice because that's what I did tonight. And I have this little rice cooker that I bought at Walmart for $15 that you guys keep hearing about. And it's just the easiest thing. I throw 2 cups of uncooked rice in there with 4 cups of water, and I turned it on. Well, I came back here and quick did this, and it was done. I put the vegetables in the air fryer, and I used chicken. I put chicken in the oven, and my chicken was raw, and dinner was done. And I had no plan, but because I had all of these things ready to go, even if the meat's frozen, you can thaw it out in the microwave and pop it in the oven, and look at all of the different meals that you can make with just what I showed you. Pork tenderloin with some frozen green beans that look delicious and a cup of rice. Here's the fish with some broccoli and your rice. This looks like a medley of vegetables with some chicken and some rice. And of course, all these need a healthy fat. Here's some more, just with those same vegetables and rice and chicken. And these all kind of look like the same thing, but they're not. This is a riced cauliflower with the peas and the carrots, and there's chicken in there. And all of them, your half a cup of carb, which is your rice, your 4 to 6 ounces of protein based on your meal plan, your unlimited vegetables, and your healthy fat. And you could do this with quinoa, you could do it with potato, you could do it with pasta. The list is endless. And minutes, it just takes minutes. So oftentimes people think meal prepping is this long Sunday sitting in the kitchen with, you know, steam coming out of pots, and, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. Meal prepping starts here. It's all about how you equipped your pantry. You have to make your house a meal prep situation. And then you could throw stuff together relatively fast. Your meals are all set up that way. And this is actually a picture of the enchilada. And, you know, there's just a little extra cilantro on there, and there's the healthy fat. So how can you do this with a little bit more structure if you want more structure? In your onboarding guide also, there were some planning sheets like this. I found, and I know a lot of you do this as well, that writing down the meal in advance is helpful. If you prefer that, I would tell you to do that. You could sit down with your family and ask them, what do you want to have Sunday? What do you want to have Monday? What do you want to have Tuesday? Jot those things down, jot down the ingredients here. It doesn't have to be all like exact ingredients down to, you know, a tablespoon of lemon juice, and just the main staples. And if you keep these dinner sheets on hand, you could just pull a sheet and go, oh, yes, that week in November, we did the enchiladas and the chili and and you have them there, because we forget what we've done in the past, and use them as a reference. Just make copies of these, because your good ideas get forgotten. Anybody have anything to add about any tips that they have for dinner planning that have worked for you? Okay. All right. So what about day-to-day meals that you might want to plan for? Well, I've found that over the years in working with the multitude of people that I've worked with, everybody has their preference. It depends on if you work at home, if you work outside the home, if you don't work. It depends on what your needs are. So I guess that answer depends on what exactly you're looking for. So storage containers are really important. I have found over the years, I've invested so much money in trying to find the ideal food container. And the bottom line is that you're better off investing in something that's going to last you. As far as storage goes, I have had this set here forever. The lids have lasted decades. This big one here, the lid is just starting to go, and you could buy the replacement lids on Amazon. But what I like about these is I make my big batch of chicken, I put it in here. I make my big batch of rice, I put it in here. I have my big batch of lentils, I put it in here. I make my refried beans, I put it in here. Now, when I open my refrigerator, it's like going to the buffet. I have a buffet. And that didn't even take that much time. So instead of making a bunch of little individual meals, I prefer to have several large portions. So if I want to take my chicken and my rice and my lentils and make a bowl, I could. If I want to take my chicken and my rice and some fresh greens and make a burrito, I could. If I want to make a salad, I could. I find that less cumbersome. My husband, on the other hand, who works from home, loves these. He will take his 6 ounces of chicken and his rice and his broccoli, and he will construct all of these every day. Well, not every day, once a week. And he will put them in the freezer, even though he works from home, and he will microwave them and eat them. He finds that easier. So again, it's your preference. These containers here are amazing. They're 2-cup portions. You can get these on Amazon. I believe they're on the wish list. Why I love these is they freeze perfectly. They microwave perfectly. They dishwash perfectly. They seal perfectly. And I love that I don't have to measure. So 2 cups of lentils fits in there like perfectly. And I have dozens and dozens and dozens of these. These are great. And then my top choice, I have to say, maybe because I've gotten lazy over the years, are these. These are just deli containers that you can get on Amazon. I think you can get 50 of them for, don't quote me, $12. And I like them because I can reuse them. I can give them away if I'm sharing. And when I'm done, I just pitch them. So, and they do seal really well. They microwave well, even though you're really shouldn't be microwaving plastic, but these are 16 ounces and these are 32 ounces. These freeze awesome. So if you're gonna make lentils or chili or beef stew, these are ideal. If you don't wanna waste your good glassware in the freezer. So, and with that being said, when you are freezing things, and you're doing a big meal prep and you're making, chili, always take a couple. I said this to someone the other day. Always save a couple batches and stick them in the freezer, because then you have like a little get you fit cuisine section in your freezer. It's always nice to have an old meal to bounce back to. People never think about freezing, even if it's just one portion, stick it in the freezer. It's nice to have it a little bit later. So, any questions about meal containers? Okay, so I'm going to bring you guys all back. And since meal prep is kind of like a really individualized, needy topic, I'm going to let you guys now ask questions, or perhaps not even questions, but ask what things tie you up the most. Like, what is the hardest part about putting a meal together? Maybe I can give you some tricks, and like, what stumps you the most? You walk in the house, you don't know what to make. Is it the ideas? Is it the time? Or is it just the motivation of cooking? Okay, so oftentimes people say that they don't have time, or they don't feel motivated to cook. And it's because they don't, the day slips away from them, and dinner comes and it's like, what are we having for dinner? So one thing that has really helped me, and it's the silliest little thing, but it has helped so many people, is if you leave out a visual cue somewhere in your house that will prompt you to cook dinner. It is the most elementary thing, but it works like a charm. So whether you do it before you go to bed, whether you do it when you wake up in the morning, whatever you do, decide what you're going to have for dinner, or decide what you want to make, and just leave something out. So if you're going to just leave out the box of rice, put it in sight. Because if you have to walk past it 6 or 7 or 8 times during the day, you're going to put the rice in the microwave and cook it. If you leave something out to remind you, leave the crock pot out. If you leave the crock pot out, it's going to prompt you to put the chicken in there. I would almost guarantee that if you tried that trick, you're going to prep that day. Another trick is, don't feel that you have to prep everything all in one day. That's where the demise comes in, is people feel that the meal prepping has to be done all in one day, and they pull that off and it's awesome, and they make the muffins and they make the chicken and they make the, the donuts and the enchiladas and everything else. And the next week comes along and they're like, I don't want to spend the entire day in the kitchen. So they don't do it at all. So another suggestion is put the chicken in the crock pot one day, take it out, dump it in one of your Pyrexes, put it in the refrigerator, walk away. You have chicken made. The next day, dump a bunch of broccoli on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, yell at Alexa to remind you to shut it off in 45 minutes, walk away. Now take all that broccoli, throw it in another Pyrex, put it in the fridge. Now you have broccoli. It could be done in stages. It doesn't have to be done all in one day. And because I know from experience, when I used to do it all in one day, I would dread it, dread it. So if you're somebody that feels like you have to do all this meal prepping all in one day, it does not need to be done all in one day. Same thing with people that feel like you have to put them in those little individual containers like my husband does. That takes time. So if you're better off doing the buffet idea where you have your big containers in the fridge, go that route, because then that way you got your chicken, dump it in, put it in the fridge, you're set for the week. And the nice thing about that is I find that the chicken lasts longer. Actually, everything lasts longer if you're storing it in a larger container than if you're storing it in a smaller container. It seems to contaminate quicker if it's in a smaller container. So if it's in a big container and you don't go through all the chicken and it's day 4 and you're starting to go, I'm not going to eat it all, you could take the rest, throw it in a Ziploc and stick it in the freezer. As long as, here's the frozen meat rule. If the meat was frozen and you thawed it out and you cooked it, you cannot freeze it again for salmonella reasons. Okay. So it cannot be double frozen. If you bought it fresh, brought it home from Jewel fresh, cooked it, refrigerated it, you could freeze it again. That's the rule. So in that case, if I know I'm making a ton, and I think, I might not eat this all, I don't freeze it first. I cook it, because then I know I might freeze it again. So then that way it's, it's not going to waste. Or take it, throw an enchilada together, because now you have an extra meal. So, any questions? Has anybody used any of these tricks? Or are they all seemingly new to you? Kind of, sort of. Yep. And experiment with things too, because when you're out grocery shopping and you're going down the meat section, oftentimes we always buy just the same old chicken. There's all different types of chicken. Tonight I actually bought drumsticks, and I pulled the skin off and threw a bunch of spices on there, and they were just as happy as clams eating drumsticks in there, and it was the easiest thing. I just threw it on a Pyrex, threw the spices in there, popped it in the oven, and it was done. So, and all of this too will work in an air fryer. So air fryers are great. If you don't have a large family like I do, you could literally take a piece of fish, some frozen vegetables, stick it in the air fryer, 15-16 minutes, and it's done. So cool.
It's funny because for the longest time I kept thinking I don't want an Instapot because I'm a party of one. Like I'd make something in there and have to eat it for 10 days.
Yeah.
But then the more I hear you talk and I see different posts, I'm thinking actually it would probably be to my benefit to do that, because I can freeze plenty of it and then most of my cooking's done if I'm a party of one.
For sure.
So
for sure. I mean,
after today, I'm thinking I should probably go get an Instapot.
Mine has been I can't, if there was an odometer on there, mine would be like, yeah. I mean, you could use it to just even, hard boiled eggs.
Yeah.
It's insane, what you could use it for. And, you can buy, they have 4-quart ones, but even for one person, I would say get the 6,
Okay.
definitely. You can make soup and portion it out. If you were to make any of the soups that I have and buy those containers and portion them out. I trained somebody, he's a single gentleman, and he's actually having surgery tomorrow. And I convinced him to get a freezer for his garage, and it's full because I've taught him make a batch, freeze half, and then label it. And he's got his little get you fit cuisine. He just goes in there and between chicken tortilla soup, the chili, the beef stew, he just rotates through. And then you're not cooking every day either.
Right.
Oh,
that's good.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your
Thank
evening.
you.
I'm gonna go eat my thrown together dinner.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.